I've been watching Bungie patch things for years.
So, how long does an exploit normally last?
Depends. Does it help the player or hurt the player? I've seen loot exploits patched overnight, but months will go by and a weapon will go unbalanced or a network error will go unresolved. The network error might last you longer.
And why that more than another?
Well, the netcode's never been known for its award-winning stability. It's likely they have to find a way to fix it that doesn't bring the whole thing crashing down like a house of cards. Here's an exploit, sir. Only been around a few weeks, already dead.
And what exploits that?
Ha! A mad one. A horse in one. The best we've ever seen.
Can't say I understand what you're talking about.
A pestilence on this one. A dozen runs and I could never get what I wanted. The cheese, sir, was the menagerie chest farm.
Let me see. Alas, poor loot chest. I knew him. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, a cheese of infinite loot, of most excellent fancy. I'd run this chest 1,000 times, and now, how a hoard in my imagination it is. My gorge rises at it. Here was the X button I pressed for Ostringer, one I pressed I know not how many times. Where be your bad rolls now? Your gambles, your victories, your flashes of merriment, when after countless runs a prized weapon was thrust from your chamber. Not one now to be of much worth. Quite fallen. Now get you to my lady's chamber, and tell her, let her paint an inch thick to this favor she must. Come. Make her laugh at that. What's going on, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages? Joker back again, once again, and today we're talking about the menagerie farm. So, Bungie's decided to patch it, stating, blah 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 blah, not working as intended, blah 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 blah, we fucked up, blah 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 blah. Now, we're gonna take your toy away from you, blah 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 blah. The problem is, it doesn't matter if it's working as intended or not. Currently, it's working in the best way it could have ever been introduced. Now, perhaps it's a little too generous. I'll agree with that. On console, you can loot the end chest 5 to 6 times a menagerie run. So, perhaps it is a bit too generous, but to what end? I mean, why does it matter? The longevity of the game? This content, like the Forges, like the Reckoning, pretty much like every piece of endgame content ever added to Destiny, is disposable. The longevity of any given activity, like Escalation Protocol, like the Reckoning, like the Menagerie, only matters in the season that it's introduced, because in the next season it's not updated, it's replaced. So the excuse that, well, if you let people run the chest as many times as they can, you're going to kill the content before its normal shelf life has come and gone. But why does that matter? Shadowkeep is around the corner. Outside the utility that Menagerie will provide when leveling a character, where I can pick which powerful gear I want for what slot, you know, provided that Bungie doesn't change the way that we acquire powerful gear in Shadowkeep, the Menagerie is just going to become another Escalation Protocol, another Reckoning, another Blind Well. These activities that have their season, but pretty much die off after that, unless it's part of an exotic quest. And we see that all the time. Now, that's not to say that the Menagerie shouldn't be changed. In fact, it should be. And there's a very simple compromise here. Reward good players. Dun dun dun! Lightning crackle, lightning crackle, lightning crackle, gasp, shock, surprise. I know. Mind-boggling. There's a time limit to complete each activity. If you complete the activity within that time limit, a chest spawns in the room. Duh. How's this hard? If you complete the activity like you should, instead of just letting the time run out and moving on to the next activity, you get rewarded. Gasp. Shock. Amazement. No more to say. That's your solution. That's how you fix the Menagerie. This rewards playing well with gasp, shock, extra rewards. And then you always have the end chest if your team just happens to particularly not be that great. The only issue I see with this is people quitting when the first encounter is lost. But just add the same comp and gambit timeout mechanic, and you fix that problem. This also helps get rid of AFK players because your rewards are based on your performance now. No standing around till the final boss to loot the chest as many times as you can. No, you actually have to play the fucking game. Novel concept. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think Bungie needs to look at this and be more compromising when it comes to the way that the loot's handled in the Menagerie, because you've already kind of spoiled the community. And then taking that away is just going to make people not care about the activity anymore. It's kind of like when they nerf a weapon. Is the weapon still kind of viable, like say Whisper? Yeah, sure, maybe, but now I have the bad taste in my mouth of what it once was, and it getting taken away, and the fact that there's other things that are just better or newer or shinier. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below, and like always, stay frosty.